Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the City of Kingston Planning Board meeting for February. Today is February 21st, 2023. My name is Suzanne Cahill. I'm the Planning Director for the City of Kingston. We're going to start this evening by saying the pledge, so if everyone would just stand up and join us, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. Just so everybody knows, we are recording this meeting and it is being live streamed on the City of Kingston YouTube channel. Just a couple of housekeeping issues before we get started. We ask people to please silence your cell phones. And if you do have conversations that you want to have, there are meeting rooms on either side of the council chambers. If you take them out outside of this room, we would appreciate that. Also, the bathrooms are to my right, out the side doors here. Men's is towards the front of the building and women's to the back. If we do have an emergency and we do need to exit the building, we ask that you do not use the elevator. If you need assistance, please ask us and we will help you. With that, I am going to call the meeting to order at 6:03 p.m. And I'm going to turn the meeting over to Vice Chair Charles Polacco to introduce the rest of the board members and carry the meeting on.
Good evening. I'm Charles Polacco. I'm the Vice Chair. We have Robert Jacobson, Sage Newkirk, and Andrew Harris. Kyla and Suzanne. Okay. I will start the meeting with item number 1, the adoption of January 17th Planning Board meeting minutes. Everybody had a chance to read those. Any discussion? Okay, I make a motion, we accept them. Second by Robert Jacobson. All in favor? Aye. Okay. We have item number 2 is a public hearing for 7-9 and 11-13 Gerald Street. Do we have anyone who wants to talk on that except for the people that are doing it? No? Okay. Item number 2.
Yeah, just ask the applicants to come up. You can read it into the record?
Yes. Okay. 7-9 and 11-13 Gerald Street, lot line deletion of the lands of Travis Myers, SBL 56.35-7-14-200 and 56.35-7-14.300 secret determination, zone R1, Ward 7, Travis Myers, applicant owner. Is he here?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, just to green. And then you just got to kind of, pull it over to you and just kind of speak into it. There you go. Just want to introduce yourself for the record, please.
Travis Myers.
Okay. This application is to delete the lot line between two parcels, each measuring 50 by 100 feet. Both parcels are vacant land and were part of a previously approved subdivision to create the lots back in 2005. Okay. Why are you doing this?
Well, we were looking to build a home, and we want to make it one lot. I was instructed to make it one lot by the building department, so we could build a home on one side and have parking on the other.
Yeah, the map's behind you, but the land is, it slopes rather steeply. So are you planning to like dig into the hill, or how are you?
Well, yes, just.
So you'll
There will
dig-
be a basement.
Okay,
And what was I going to say? So on one side of the house, the basement will be th- possibly a walk. I don't know if it'll be quite that high, because although it is steep, it's not insanely steep. I mean, I'm going to probably say over the width of 30 feet,
okay,
probably has, I don't know, a 2.5-foot drop, approximately.
right.
So we would have to lift it up, but I don't know if it'll be a walkout. But what I do, because we haven't gotten the drawings completed yet by the thing, we're waiting to do that after this. But I am planning on having a set of stairs on one side of the building for
Okay.
basement access. So
Okay.
I don't know if that was what you were looking for.
Else have any questions, comments? Okay. Well, this is type 2 under seeker. No further has to be done with it. I make a motion. We accept that.
Right, we will need, conditions would be Board Policy 6 will need to be put on the final plans. The plans will need to be signed by the owner prior to the chair's signature. We will need a Mylar and 5 paper copies of the final plat and the description of the resultant parcel. You'll get that in writing. We'll send,
Okay, surveyor, great. Is
Yeah.
the surveyor is the exact same surveyor that did these, for what you have right now? I'm just on the waiting list to be seen.
Okay.
And he will, of course, know exactly what you want.
yeah,
right?
you'll get that in a decision letter.
Okay, great.
So you'll have that and you can hand that to him and he or she will be able to do it rather easily.
Very good,
It's
because I
standard.
already forgot what you asked for.
Okay.
So, terrific. Okay, very good.
Yeah, I make a motion. We grant the lot line deletion. Do I have a second? Sage. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, thank you.
Well,
Just,
thank you very much. I appreciate it. That was easy. Would you like this off?
okay. We have public speaking on item number 3. It's 88 of Beale Street, 90 of Beale Street, special permit renewal to operate a bed and breakfast. Do we have anyone that would like to speak on this besides the owner? Okay. Public speaking is closed. Okay, it's 88 of Beale Street, 90 of Beale Street, special permit renewal to operate a bed and breakfast, SBL 56.43-5-4, seeker determination 2, zone RT Roundel Historic District, Ward 8, Maria and Hendrik, who? Dyke, applicant and owner. Okay,
Can you just pull the mic closer and just introduce yourself, Maria, for the record? It's on.
it's on.
Hi, I'm Maria Dijk from the Firehouse Inn on Appeal Street.
Need to kind of get right into it. Speak into
What?
it. Speak into it. Just turn it. Yeah.
Hello, Maria Dijk, 90 Appeal Street.
So how is business?
Going well.
Yeah.
Steady.
Good. Good. Back to pre-COVID normal or
During COVID, it was the best time ever.
really?
Yeah. But now also it's really pretty good. So
Good. Okay. That's good to hear.
yeah.
Did we have any police reports or inspections? Everything's good?
Complaints, right?
Do we have any questions? Okay. Make a motion, we could,
Let's seeker first.
oh, this is type 2 seeker, no further, what you call on that? What the hell?
Action.
Actions, thank you. I'm new at this. Okay. Okay, I make a motion, we accept the special permit renewal. Do I have a second?
You do have to do you have to do a term, 1 year.
Oh, 1 year. I thought that was the law there, 1 year.
No, 1 year.
You still have to say it. And there's no other.
Original conditions.
All original conditions are carried forward. Okay. Make a motion.
Second. Robert? Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay. Thank you.
Carried. Thank you. By the time we're done, we'll get it.
You should read the item into the agenda before you open the public speaking.
Oh, okay. Read the whole thing through.
Yep.
Okay, item 4, 104 Smith Avenue, site plan subdivision to construct a mixed-use development with 112 residential units, 56 studio, 34 one-bedroom, 23 two-bedroom, 6,478 square feet commercial, 18,240 square feet warehouse space and supporting infrastructure and improvements. SBL 48.82-1-7, Type 2 seeker. No, I'm jumping ahead on that.
It's not just, just secret determination, but we're not doing that tonight.
Oh, okay. Seeker determination zone M1, M2, MUOD, MHVBF developer LLC applicant, second wind trust owner. This is public speaking. Do we have anyone that wants to speak on this? No, I close the public speaking. Want to introduce yourself?
Good evening, Dan Simone, the developer, and I appreciate the board bringing us back. Just to let the board know where we are at this juncture, we've completed all our requested studies, traffic, noise, stormwater was submitted this morning to staff for circulation, and we're eager to proceed with the planning and close out the project for a late spring start, hopefully.
Right. The project, we have already initiated the referral to the County Planning Board. That will be on the March agenda. And as Dan said, they have submitted the traffic assessment, the noise survey. Last month, we looked at the visual simulations that were done. They've submitted more information on demolition and stormwater and landscaping and the gamut of the typical site plan review issues. Dan, I did take a look at the traffic study, and I did have a couple of questions. I don't know, do you have it available to you? Okay. The last entry on table 2 of the level of service table, for Smith Avenue, the site driveway, I think it should be westbound rather than southbound.
Site driveway, southbound, left. Oh, okay.
I think, just double check that. As I looked at it. The next thing I just was in looking at it, I do note that the train crossing was obviously addressed with the resultant queuing on the vehicles. Was there anything that was looked at that when the train was passing, what the number changes on Cornell were, to see how that influenced Cornell traffic at all?
Well, they looked at all of them, and they were baked into those operating hour ranges. So they had, as they mentioned here, there were, I think during the study times, 9 a.m. and 4 to 6 p.m., where the commuter periods, they had 5 gate closures were observed, 3 in the a.m. and 2 in the p.m., and the average closure of 1 minute, 5 seconds. So whatever effect it did have were baked into the existing traffic counts during those 2 periods.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Their summation was, it may affect 1 or 2 drivers during those periods,
Yeah,
which would most likely just probably wait it out on site or turn elsewhere. But it shouldn't impact the level of service to those intersections.
right, okay. And then the only other thing that I noted was that I found it interesting that I didn't see any mention of the USPS and the traffic that's surrounded, used with that, whether it be their own vehicles or just people going to the post office. So yeah, I guess, I just thought that they would have been mentioned because I would have thought that
Didn't
that would have
mention it
had
specifically.
more of a significant influence.
Yeah, yeah. They should be baked into those numbers as far as
Okay.
the turning movements. Anyone that would have turned onto Smith,
Right.
would have been counted,
Yeah,
in those traffic movements, but they didn't specifically mention. I can ask the question.
okay, okay.
For the postal,
For the postal, they don't head in the direction of the site because the site's beyond the main entrance in the back where all the parking lot and the loading
Right.
docks are.
right? Yeah, any commuter cars that would be going to the post office would have been included in those intersection numbers. It's probably a lot more off-peak,
Yeah.
than the 7 to 9, because I don't think the
Yeah.
post office really gets
I
moving
mean,
until.
overall, it wasn't anything that I didn't expect to see. I mean, the level of services are still
The level of
very
services are still
adequate,
good.
all around.
yeah.
The traffic assessment, they do make some recommendations that, for the board's note, I think you should include in any final, we'll incorporate that into any final determination, so.
Yeah, the recommendations that they made to the board were that we upgrade the handicap access ramps at Cornell and Bruin. We're going to be restriping, we're going to be redoing the sidewalks in that location. So that were really the culmination of the improvement recommendations from Creighton Manning. We're going to be doing all new sidewalks at our perimeters anyways. So. They had, let me just see. They were talking in the 2026 peak AM build, an additional 7.5 and 9.3, 7.5 left-hand turns, 9.3 right-hand turns. Most everyone is going to be going most likely to the Cornell intersection. That's how they kind of assumed most of the traffic was going that way anyways. And then the PM, pretty much the same, maybe 7 to the left, 9 to the right. But we also, for the board's edification, those driveways are going to be constructed through from Smith to Bruin. So in the event there is a train, I just assume that they're going to go to the Bruin Avenue exit and go that way if they're impatient.
One other note, and maybe we could talk a little bit about the demolition stuff, but I did note that for the Fowler and Keith building, you're intending obviously to demo the front stoop as it exists today and rebuild that portion, that entryway.
Yes.
So I'd like to see an elevation of that if that wasn't included in the visuals. So that updated elevation should be provided.
Yeah, you're talking about the front entrance?
Yeah,
I think it's visible on our rendering, but let me just,
okay.
we are still kind of working through that design plan.
Okay, all right.
Similar to this. Actually, but this will change a little because with our restricted frontage, we're most likely going to come out with a landing and have steps going down either side.
That way, okay. Okay,
Because there's not a lot, there's only 6 feet to the
Right.
property line
okay,
currently. So we're probably going to split the stairs and go down both
okay,
sides.
good. All right, thank you. Do any other board members have any questions that you want to ask about? They did provide a lot of lighting documentation, various lighting types. Do you want to maybe just have a quick little overview of your lighting plan and your types of fixtures to show how you are applying them?
Packet, but I did hand one in, right? You have one?
Kyla can put it up.
You want to put it up? Okay.
By the next meeting, yes, they're meeting in March.
All at that meeting.
Would be to give the approval with whatever conditions we feel are needed.
I'm not sure if the board had a chance to read through the sound study that we had prepared also, but it was quite an interesting education on the train itself. The train horn produces audible readings exceeding 80 decibels, 80, 85 decibels. The comfort range for, inhabitants of the buildings are around 50. So they had made some recommendations on construction techniques to bring it down. One interesting factor that came out of this is the 8-inch brick masonry on the existing building actually provides a lot of sound attenuation, which is good to know.
Yeah.
I was worried more about that one than the new build. But with regular construction techniques that are mandated pretty much under our energy code, we'll be bringing those noise levels down into the 45 to 55 range.
So you're going to follow the recommendations to the building construction types that they proposed within that study?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
and we
did
have
make
to
a note
kind
of
of
that.
work that through also with the energy modeling now to see which ones we follow.
Right.
But that's why I asked them to give me a couple
Okay.
different scenarios.
All right,
based
good.
upon, because it'll play differently with different energy modeling.
Okay,
But the biggest take home was the windows.
yeah,
Windows, what they say is they typically want to match the acoustical performance of the window to the wall section, because the wall section is a higher performing assembly. So they gave us a whole scenario of menu items to follow, which was good. But I was worried about the brick building, but the brick building is probably the least of our worries. So, which is good to know.
yeah. Yeah, it was good.
Okay, yes, thank you. So basically, we have, these would be our wall-mounted fixtures in kind of a rustic brown, would be used for accent lighting on the buildings as well as entry lighting into at the doorways. This would be our post-top lighting fixture. It's kind of a modern twist on an antique, all down lighting, all LED. And this would be located in our parking lot areas. And then we have a series of bollards proposed for some of the walkways and low lighting areas between the buildings and on the entrances. I think there was a bollard. You're getting the whole gamut there of all the fixtures, all the appurtenances to the lights too. And these would be the bollards at the walkways and the paved areas. So.
Right, what's the height of the post? I
The
think they were
post-top
12,
lights are mounted at 14.
14 foot, okay,
We tried to keep them pretty low.
okay, right,
We have, because of the proximity to the property lines of our parking lots is 6 foot, we couldn't go up So we ended up having a few extra fixtures, but mounting them low so that we could eliminate the trespass. So 14 feet is a nice residential scale.
Kyla's going to pull up a site plan. I did note that there are actually like 3 locations for recycled dumpster enclosures. So each building is going to have their own,
One
Dan?
will have their own, yes.
Okay, that's,
The one located here would be for Building A, and then we have 2 back here, one for Building B and one for Building C.
okay. Landscaping, we talked a little bit about. We also thought that it might be good to just, in between now and the next planning board meeting, just go and sit with the tree commission and just talk to them about the types of plantings, and particularly, they're going to be interested in the trees along the street, but,
Okay.
so that was a suggestion. Have you? No, it's advisory. Have you reached out to, speaking of reaching out, the school district?
Multiple times.
Okay, have you had any, you have not had any success?
Yes. No.
Okay, I'll make a note, we'll try and do some follow-up for that, because we do want their feedback on that, with, particularly with this project.
Sent one note to them, I want to say early December.
And you reached out to Padalino directly?
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah, and then I sent him another note in early January.
okay.
I was going to talk to you because maybe a phone call would help. So,
We also need to get the Kingston Recreation Department, the commission, to review this for the rec fee. So we sent this over to them, right? The rec? Okay, we're going to have to get that on their agenda. They'll meet before our next meeting, so
Requesting any waiver? Is he requesting any waiver, or is he just paying the full freight? If he's paying full freight, I
he
don't,
has not requested a waiver, but the commission would make by the code, the commission has to make a recommendation back to us.
But the
So we need to get it in front of them.
yeah, but the recommendation presumably would be what the rec fee is.
Yes.
does the city
If-
ever allow reductions for the affordable housing components?
Not, it's not in the current code. It will be in the future, but not currently. So if you want to just give our office a call, Dan, and we'll let you know when that next meeting is, but we need to get you to them. It's typically the first Thursday of the month, so it'll be March 2nd next week. Okay. All right, the SWIP was turned in today. That's been referred to the city engineer, so we'll hope to have some feedback. I don't expect that we're going to have a lot on that. It's a relatively flat site. Yeah, there are appropriate erosion control measures.
Overall, it's a reduction in impervious.
Right.
Site, so.
Yeah, I don't see why they can't put it on the agenda. Yeah, yeah, it's pretty straightforward. We'll talk to Lindsay tomorrow. We'll make sure it's there. Dan, you want to talk a little bit about your demolition phasing plan?
Currently, the existing F&K building located on proposed Lot 3 and the existing cooperage located on proposed Lot 2 here are connected in the middle, and there's a two-story addition on the left-hand side of the F&K building that was constructed in the 80s or early 90s, maybe. That will all come down. It will separate these two buildings in this fashion. From a construction phasing perspective, what we're planning is this portion of the property straight through from Brune to Smith would be phase one. Okay, and this infrastructure would be put in. And then this would be phase two, hopefully to follow not too far thereafter. The stormwater retention facilities are proposed in phase two. That's where they currently exist under the redevelopment scenarios of the SWIP. We only have to replace what's there and take the water quality volume. So that's located below this pavement here. That would be part of phase two.
I noted that you have two construction entrances, one on proposed, one on off of Bruin, one off of Smith. Are they both going to be active for the duration of the whole construction, or how do you plan on working with that? Because the Bruin one seemed to be in the phase, they both seem to be in the phase one portion.
They're both in the phase one portion.
Right.
Yeah. Because these buildings will start to get, this building will start to get occupied probably before this building is constructed. So from a construction standpoint, what we may do is this will become the primary construction entrance for this building, and this will be reserved for resident access.
Okay.
This one will most likely be reserved for resident access too during the interim, and then when construction of this building undergoes, just Brune Avenue will have the construction access. That's
Okay. Okay. Yeah, we did note that there are some items that we would like to still see submitted. One would be the materials matrix
for the buildings.
for your construction choices for siding, windows, roofing, et cetera. We will need for the performance bond, we will need the cost estimate to be submitted in advance of the board's meeting, so the engineer has a chance to review that and get back to us. We talked about the school district.
Site work, right?
Only the site work, correct? Yes. Yep.
Yeah, how does it work from a phasing perspective? Can we break the cost estimate into two phases?
You can put them in phases. Let me think about that one. How to work that, how to structure it, but you'll probably, I would, if I were you, at least put them in as different phases, but you're going to have some carryover elements, I would suspect.
Most likely.
Yeah.
Depending upon how quick the
Yeah.
phases go.
Right. Okay. Okay. And that's all the comments that I had, unless the board members have any other additional comments that they want to add. We'll send you a copy of the updated staff notes as well.
And just a question regarding the Building B, the renovation of the historic building. Since that's under the auspices of SHPO, there's no need for us to meet with Historic Kingston or anything like that, right?
No, it is, no, right now it's not designated
Right.
as a landmark, so there's no requirement to go before the commission. You know, if you want to bring, you know, if you need a support letter from them or you want something, you know, of that nature, certainly feel free. I mean, our office administers that commission, so you can just talk to us and we'll make sure. Okay, we have a meeting that actually the same night as the rec commission meeting.
Oh, okay.
So you could do two, you could do a two
You
for
want me
one.
to sit in on that one? Get a twofer?
Possibly decided the next meeting. I assume that the lot line revisions are all going as part of that approval?
Yeah, that would be, yes,
Everything we need for the lot line revisions
I believe so. Hmm.
finalized?
The only question I have is regarding the one variance that we would be requesting, which is the setback for the new build.
That can be a condition of our approval.
Be a condition of your
Right.
approval, and then
But
I
the
could go to
crossover easements, you're
in
going to
what-
want to start getting, if you haven't started getting those into our corporation council, start getting them to us so that we can feed them to them and make sure that those are all,
That can be a subject of our approval.
right.
That
But
can be a
there's going to
condition, right?
be multiple cross easements, I would think, access utilities, that kind of thing. Hmm.
Utilities, I think we're okay. I think those will be
Okay.
separate on the lots, but access would be across
Okay.
easement.
Yeah, I think well, the refuse, is that all going to be, that it should be kind of on each lot, right? They're separated out to each parcel?
Yes, yeah. Actually, I'm sorry, this is the old plan. I didn't.
Yeah.
Not a common recreation area, but just an open space element. And the building C is commercial.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Does Corporation Council have a standard format for just
Not that I'm aware of, no. No.
put it together and we'll comment on it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, you were there. You snuck in.
okay, perfect. He snuck right in there.
That's it. No, I don't, unless anybody else does. So just, you need a motion to table.
I make a motion to table to next meeting. Do I have a second? Second.
Second by who? Andrew?
Or Andy. All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 5. 7375 Furnace Street, special permit to establish a barber shop / saloon and or salon and a 4-room boarding house, SBL 56.92-4-42. Seeker determination, Zone C3, Ward 4, Lyndon Peters, applicant owner. This is, have a public hearing. Does anyone here want to speak on this? No one wants to speak on it. Close the,
Just introduce yourself, please.
My name's Matt Mason. I'm an architect. I live in Saugerties. Is this on?
I'm Lyndon Peters, property owner.
applicant is seeking approval to establish a ground floor barber shop salon with 4-room boarding house on the 2nd floor. Building is currently posted by the Building Safety Division and has relayed to the applicant the need to address the code issues before any occupancy of the building can be authorized. Okay.
Matt, have you had conversations with the building department to understand what the
Very
code
brief,
issues
yes.
are?
Yeah, I spoke
Okay.
with Eric Kitchen, and he did mention there was a handful of things that do need to be
Okay.
taken care of.
Okay,
I've walked it a
because,
couple of times, and it's obvious and apparent and
all right,
needs some work.
okay, because, yeah, obviously, those are going to have to be addressed before any occupancy can even begin to get formed.
I'll be addressed with the building department.
Okay. Kyla has put up some of the pictures of the property behind, they're on the screen behind you, just to show the location to the board members. Mr. Peters, you'll have a tenant for the barber shop, so that'll be a space that you lease out then to a separate business. It's not, you're not operating the barber shop, right? You're going to lease it out to somebody? Okay. And the storage area behind that on the first floor, is that going to be leased out as well, or is that something that you privately use for yourself?
Presently now, but in the future, I might be,
Okay.
either turn it into an apartment or leave it alone. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that yet until.
Okay. So if you do decide to change the use, just check with our office before you do that, okay? But because we're looking at it as storage right now in that back portion. Okay. All right.
Prints for the apartments are upstairs and everything.
Yeah, you want to put Kyla's got a plan up. That's just the basic site plan. Matt, you want to speak to the plan?
Sure. Basically, it's an existing building, needs work. Mr. Peters would like to, of course, fix the apartment issues and in the front portion of the building, do a 400 square foot barber shop. The rear, it has an existing driveway with a fence, and the rear of the property needs to be cleaned up and turned into a, more formal parking area. We're showing 8 spaces. I believe 7 are required. Providing 3 foot of landscaping buffer at the residential borders to the north and west. Thinking azaleas would be good for that area. There is a wall-mounted light in the rear of the building that is not a good light. We're proposing to do a full cutoff wall pack, replace that with something that's low cutoff, and it still illuminates the parking area.
Is that going to be on like a timer, or will that be on motion sensor?
Timer.
Timer. Okay, that's, I think, a better option for that neighborhood because you got the residential.
Yep.
Okay.
If accessible parking is required, it seems to me to make sense to have something in the front and not necessarily in the parking area in back, if that's something that's possible. It would only be someone that came to the salon. So, a parking space directly in front of that door would seem to make sense.
Okay, so you're talking like maybe a decorative, like wall-mounted light by the entryway? Is that what when you say lighting in the front?
I say accessible parking.
Oh,
If
just,
accessible parking is required, put it in the front on the street.
okay. That would have to be done through the Common Council
Okay.
for handicap parking space to be designated there.
Okay. The wall pack I was talking about was in the rear.
Okay.
To illuminate the parking lot in back.
What about lighting along the driveway between the buildings there? Is there
Yeah, I
any?
noticed there's some street lighting there that seems to provide some
Okay.
illumination. I didn't necessarily think more lighting would be needed.
Okay.
I think we just need to provide 1 foot candle, and I think it should be bright enough for there.
Okay. And I guess, Mr. Peters, this question would be for you. The vinyl gate that is there, is that generally kept closed all the time? Is it locked, or is it just, so if the tenants wanted to utilize the parking area, it would be open during the day?
Yes, it's accessible.
Okay. So it's not locked,
Not locked.
it's just, it can close, okay.
Closes and open as
Okay.
as freely.
But it's intended basically for the tenants and maybe the owners or your tenants of the barber shop, not
Yes.
for the people coming to the business.
No.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. They can use it if it's available, if we have space. Because just temporarily, if they come and they get a haircut or a hair done or something, or hair do.
Yeah. And do you have any signage plans? Have you thought about, or you're going to allow your tenant to do that?
Give me a signage.
Just
then. You mean
to
like some-
identify the
as a
business?
salon and barber shop?
Yeah.
Yes, I'll be having a sign at the front of the building.
Okay, but you don't have the design for that at this point?
I already proposed one to Timely Sign, and it's in the process.
Okay. Okay. Do you know where that, is it going to be overhanging, put on the building?
It's going to be in the front of the building.
Okay. Okay. We're going to need to see that. I would ask the board that if staff can review that, if it meets with code, if you'd allow staff to review that administerially. Okay. The boarding house, you're going to have 4 rooms on the upper floor that will be functioning as a boarding house. You're familiar with the code requirements that are set forth?
Yes, I am.
Okay. You will be required to sign a statement indicating that you will comply with all of the elements of that. So I just want to make sure that you're familiar with all those. I'm not going to run through them. There's quite a few. But that will be a condition of approval.
No problem.
That's the existing condition.
I have 4 rooms up there right now and 2 bathrooms, so I'm just gonna leave it the way it is.
So those 4 rooms and those 2 bathrooms, they pre-exist?
Yes. If I decide to turn it into an apartment, I have to, yes, I have to do more construction, more work, more approvals. I have a kitchen there.
Yes, it's a shared kitchen,
Shared.
yes,
That
in the
part,
middle.
I'm sorry. Oh, I see. Got you. Okay, sorry about that.
Because the boarding house is special use permit, it will require a term to be defined. There is a limit of 1 year. I don't know what the board, how the board feels about that, if you want to make it shorter to start off with, or if you want to keep it at 1 year and just review it in a year.
Well, during the summer here, I'll try to get everything done.
Rob, just speaking.
Occupancy would reasonably be when?
Say, late summer, early spring,
Early fall, you
I
mean,
mean fall,
yeah,
sorry.
August, September.
I mean, I would do 1 year, because at that point, you're 6 months.
Anybody? Okay. Okay.
What exactly does that mean, that 1 year? That after a year it's reviewed?
Well, before the year expires, our office will notify Mr. Peters that he would just have to come back and ask for it to be renewed. And at that point in time, we just review with the building department if there's been any issues or complaints. We check with the police department to see if they've had any, issues with it. Our office might receive complaints over the course of the year, and we try to address those issues at that point in time, make sure everything's in compliance and functioning the way, it was originally proposed.
Okay, makes sense.
Anybody have any comments on the board? Questions? Okay,
Okay, this action is considered a type 2. No further actions are necessary. Want to read?
I will read the conditions. The conditions would be a term of 1 year for the boarding house, special use permit, the board policies that will be applied for 4A, 6, 7, 7A, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 19, 22, 25, and 26. Those were in the application materials. They were all defined. Any signage before it's installed will be submitted to planning staff for review for code compliance. And if it meets with the code, then we'll be able to sign off at it administratively. The boarding house statement will need to be signed by Mr. Peters as the property owner, acknowledging all of the conditions within the city code. And the building safety division will have to be met with full code compliance. Anything else? Okay, that's a motion, or those are the conditions.
That's the conditions. I make the motion. Do I have a second?
Andrew? Okay.
All in favor? Opposed?
Okay. Thank you.
Congratulations, Mr. Deputy Chairman.
Whole business. Main Street. Yeah, you
I
guys-
think we're done?
Yeah, you're done. I'm sorry. We're- Okay, 2 Main Street, number 253-255 Clinton Avenue, site plan for residential office and restaurant use, SBL 48.331-5-21-100, secret determination zone O2 mixed use overlay district, Stockade Historical District Heritage Area, Ward 2, Rupco's applicant owner. State your,
Good evening. Chuck Snyder, Director of Real Estate and Construction for Rupco.
okay. All right.
Sometimes.
This is one of those applications that had been coming back to us by special permit, which is now a straight site plan review. So in approving this, it'll be approved as a site plan with the conditions, and you will no longer have to keep coming back.
Great.
Yeah.
I've only asked that every time I've been here. But I like to see you folks, so it's okay.
Okay.
You want a rundown or?
Yeah,
something from
yeah,
me?
just kind of an overview of
I
the
don't think-
building.
I don't think anything has changed from the last several times I've been here. We've never landed a restaurant use for the first 2 floors. The bottom floor has been leased by Youth Build now for the better part of 10 years. The first floor meeting rooms, conference space that we use, there's still the infrastructure for a commercial kitchen, but we've never fitted out for that. Second floor is office, CEO, accounting and real estate development for Rupco's offices, and then the top 2 floors are 4 apartments each.
Okay.
And that has been the use for several years at this point. No changes to the exterior that I can think of. Nothing.
And you were one of the first geothermal installations
Yeah.
in Kingston, and that's working out very well for you.
Working fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good, good.
Okay, the board have any questions? Okay, this is type 2 action. No further action is required. Seeker. Okay, you want me to read all that stuff or not? Just. Oh. Okay.
Okay, so I have as the site plan conditions, just a list of board policies that would be carried forward as part of the approval. 1, 3, 3A, 4A, 6, 7, 7A, 8, 8A, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15, 19, 22, 23, and 25. That would be it.
Okay. I may
Sue,
make
can
a
I just
motion to
clarify?
accept this.
Those are all in conformance.
A lot of them have been already complied with, they're just tagged on.
Thank you.
Do I have a second? Second by Ron. Favor? Opposed? Carried.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Chuck? Want to sign that, please?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Next is item 7, 517 Wilbur Avenue, site plan to establish a distillery, tasting, and small dining business, SBL 56.33-1-22, seeker determination, zone M1, HA, Ward 5, Miller Brothers LLC, applicant owner. State your names for the record.
Evening, Karen Tompkins.
Jonathan Niles.
Undine Niles.
Thank you.
If they got the,
I'm sorry. So at our last meeting, we had gone through a lot of the site issues. We referred this to the county. The county came back with several comments. We've sent them off to the applicant for their input and feedback as well. So I'd just like to kind of quickly go through some of the notes. I don't know if the board has any new questions. The project has not changed. We can go right to the county comments if you'd like. I'll leave it up to the board. Want to go to the county comments?
yeah, go right to the.
Okay.
I just, before we get to county comments, I went down and looked at the property. I just want to make sure right now, where they're proposing tables as a patio, currently there's cars going in and out with the existing use as of today. Then if you step up where they're proposing to be the new driveway in and out, there's also currently traffic going in and out on the site, from what I could tell. In front, where the main doors are on the Wilbur Avenue side, they're closing off where, again, there's traffic going in and out. So that's going to reduce the traffic right at the Wilbur Avenue
Correct.
intersection, from what I'm understanding. And then if we go further down Wilbur Avenue, we have the trestle wall.
Right.
There's no other entrance in on that side, correct?
There
Unless the trestle wall came
there is
down?
access off of South Pine Street,
Which-
which is not,
That's
it's
in
not
the-
a usable access at this point.
And if that access were to be used, you got to go around Binney Water and Interstate to get
Correct. And out,
back in.
right, and out South Pine Street to Greenkill.
And that's not used now because it's just not improved.
Right.
The old railroad bed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I just want to make sure I understand the site, so that's what, okay.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, so we did send around to the, all board members, got a copy of the county planning board's comments. They were all required modifications. We can't do, I think we should go through them point by point and address each one. You guys speak up when if there's anything else you want to add. I did send your responses to the comments around as well to all board members for their review in advance of the meeting. So with that, we'll start right in. I think we'll just talk about the first one, and that is a re-referral to the Ulster County Planning Board. You can read our comment. That's something that staff has never seen. I don't know that it is necessary. I would recommend that the board override that.
Agree.
Okay. All right, so do you want to take a vote individually on each item? We should. So I will need a motion and a second and a vote.
Okay. I make a motion,
Speaking to that, not to me.
do I have a second?
So you're making a motion to override the county
Override the county
comment to re-refer the matter back to the county planning board with additional information. So that's after we discuss their stay. Correct. Yes. They're asking us to refer it back to them. Yes. For them to make more comments. Okay. Yes. So Chuck has made a motion to override. We need a second on that.
Second.
Second by Robert. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
I'm a yes. Chuck Palahka's a yes. Andrew?
Yes.
Robert?
Yes.
Okay. The second comment was with regards to the access. I don't have the actual comments in front of me. Yeah, I don't have the full, the way it's worded, but the second comment was with respect to the alternative curb cut on Wilbur and or South Pine with limited access on Greenkill and signage. You can read in your staff notes what the response from the applicant was, as well as some additional comment from staff on that matter. I don't know if anyone want to add anything to that or discuss that. What the county was recommending was that either South Pine Street be used as the access or providing the curb cut on Wilbur further down the street from the intersection of Wilbur and Greenkill, where basically where the wall would be. And the applicant's response there was that, they do have multiple ingress and egress points. They're removing two of them, the ones closest to the intersection, and the South Pine Street, and I would agree, is not an optimum choice because you also are going out onto a residential street, and then you have the same traffic issues getting out onto Greenkill, if not worse, I think, up above in terms of visibility questions. And Wilbur, the issue is there whether or not, we remove a historic abutment, stone abutment.
I'll just say, I read the county comments and I did drive by the site. I recognize that the applicants are removing two ingress and egress, which are almost on top of the intersection at the worst places. Pine Street, I don't agree with pushing commercial traffic into a residential area. I understand the county's concern with the bike trail, but this particular site and business has been operating long before the bike trail was designed and developed. And I would think that, or I would hope that when it was designed and built, they took this site into consideration because the access points were currently in use and being utilized. I agree that the site distance is better. I mean, it's not optimal that this is as close as it is to the intersection, but the traffic light has been removed, which has prevented some of the stacking that used to occur when people were waiting for a red light. But I do not agree with pushing traffic further up on the crest of the hill, because I think that site distance would cause even greater issue for the cars and for bicyclists that do head in both directions on that bike trail. In fairness, you know, a lot of people, when they pull out, look in the direction of cars. They're not looking in the opposite direction, looking for bikes. But that's a two-way trail. So I think signage will be important as part of this approval. But although not the best location, the best sight lines.
Okay, the county does indicate some signage to just identify that there is bike traffic, and just to alert any driver. The other thing that they were talking about would be restrictions on turning movements. What are the board's thoughts on that?
So that would be restricting taking a left turn in?
No, left turn out.
Okay.
Right.
I don't really think that a left turn out is, I mean, if you're making a left or a right, you're pulling out into the bike lane, and then you're pulling out into the parked car lane before you can even see cars going in either direction. At that point, whether you're making a left or a right, you've got a clear view of which way you want to go. To be honest with you, to make a left, I mean, you got people to your right that are making a stop sign you can clearly see, and you can sneak out and make your left turn. It's not like you have a 30-mile-an-hour oncoming traffic. I mean, they're just starting up from that traffic light, and they're only going the width of this building and patio before they have a car pulling out. So I'm not a huge fan of limiting left turns because people are going to make them anyways, so I'd rather have the correct signage and have people do it properly.
Okay?
I drive that road every day. I mean, regardless of which direction they're going, it's an awkward turn. If there's a car parked in the parking lane, how are they getting out?
Well, I
Are
mean,
they going around the car
No, I
to
mean, the
get out?
if there's a
the
parked car, they
access
gotta pull
goes
up in front of the
out.
parked
There's no
car, so-
parked cars in front of where the access is. They're,
No, but they're further up.
Right.
They stop.
Right.
So if you have two parked cars, you have to pull out enough so you can see around the car up Greenkill Avenue to get out. Because I did this 2 weeks ago at Interstate Battery, and I pulled out, and I will tell you, it was very, very awkward pulling out on the crest of a hill over a bike lane through two parked cars. I mean, it never dawned on me driving Greenkill how hard that is.
Oh, and you'll be
but-
amazed how many people park double next to each other. Oh, the
Yes.
people that park like idiots on there, I mean, they'll park double next to each other, they'll park in
It's-
front of
it's-
each other, they'll park.
The design of the bike lane is very poor without any retaining walls or Jersey barrier. It's very hard. There's just a lot going on, but Interstate is on the crest of the hill, so you're kind of like, and people are moving a lot faster further up than they are at this site, because in theory, this site, they should either be slowing down for the blinking red light stop sign, or they should be speeding up from having already been stopped. So this is safer than further up that I, at least personally experienced, because cars.
thoughts, Patrick?
I'd like to just mention there is like a couple comments on what you've
Or
said.
Andrew, rather?
The four-way stop intersection seemed to have alleviated. We've looked at this building before the intersection was rehabilitated, and it has significantly improved with all-way stops. And with the parking lane, which is farther up in front of Interstate, it does seem to be a little bit awkward, yes. But it is kind of a pass-over bike lane stop, which is a full car length distance, giving the sight line left or right, with plenty of room to come completely perpendicular to the stop sign from that location.
Yeah, Kyla just made a note that, and we'll put a request, DPW should probably crosshatch the street area there in front of where your exit is
Yes,
to identify. So that would obviously be a visual signal to people that it's not a parking.
We have seen a few cars
Location.
parked there.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point.
We're down to any comments Andrew might have, and then we have to vote on this access.
I'm sorry? Okay, so you want to make a motion?
So are we separating the turning restriction from requiring different curb cut?
No, you can do it all in one motion. I think what you would do would be to, you would override the comment to change the curb cut as it's proposed from a suggested one to South Pine or further down Wilbur, and leave the access point in the upper one as it exists on Greenkill. That you would override the turning restriction comment with no left turn out onto Greenkill, but that you would agree with the warning signage comment exiting the parking lot to give users just that upfront warning. And then we will also add a request in there for DPW to crosshatch in the public right of way.
I mean, I would be in favor of a turning restriction personally, as someone that uses that bike lane a couple times a week.
Okay?
You want to separate that one out?
I would like to, yeah.
Okay, so we'll
That one out.
separate that out. Okay, so minus the turning restriction, I need a motion for the other issues, and then we'll go back to the turning restriction.
Okay, I make the motion that we override the county. Do I have a second?
Well, you're overriding the access point and keeping it as proposed, and then you're overriding, and you're concurring with the warning signage comment. So that would be what's in this motion. Right.
Do I have a second? Sage,
Okay.
want an individual vote?
Well, yeah, there's any discussion? There's a motion and a second.
No discussion. Okay, I vote yes. Andrews, yes. Rob's a yes. Sage is a yes.
Okay, now you're back to the turning
The turning.
restriction, okay? Andrew has said that he is in favor of the board requiring a left-hand turning restriction exiting the site. Any other comments or further input on that?
I would just like to, and I'm just asking Andrew, just because you obviously use a bike lane, I personally haven't. If a car pulls out, what is the difference between it goes left and right with the bike lane? How does that impact the bike lane? Just so I understand from a bicyclist point of view.
So it's, I think, one less lane that they need to be considering when so they can kind of focus on the bike lane as they're crossing the bike lane.
Okay. So So basically, when they pull out, they're going to be focusing on the lane of traffic heading only toward them. They don't have to focus on the opposite lane, and they can, and take the bikes into consideration.
Yeah, and not have to necessarily pull out as far, because they won't need to see the other lane if there's a car here in the parking lane. Mhm.
You have to
So
look both ways anyway. You don't look left, the people not going to look left.
But looking left before you cross the bike lane, there's likely to be cars in the parking lane, so you won't even be able to see left. You'll have to look left, right for the bike lane, pull into the bike lane, look left, right once you pass
If
the
I'm
parking lane.
driving and I see a no left lane, I'm strictly going to look left at the oncoming traffic. I'm not going to look to the right because I'm not crossing, and am I going to then pull out into a bike that's heading the opposite direction?
Right, that's my concern. That's my
That's a
concern.
valid concern.
If it's a two-way bike lane, and you're only allowed to make right-hand turns,
Left.
you're only gonna look to your left, you're not gonna look to your right, and it's a two-way bike lane.
Well, I would assume that there would still be warning signs about a two-lane bike lane.
Yeah, the warning sign would still be there.
Yes,
Yes.
but you're dealing with people that are only pulling out one way, that are, how many signs are they reading?
A lazy driver is going to look left and not right. Let's
Right,
put it on the
that's
table.
my concern.
Yeah,
You're dealing with lazy drivers that are only
Yeah, yeah.
going right-hand turns, that how many signs are they reading? It's a two-way bike lane. I mean, not that I'm arguing that, my only concern is literally those bikers that are coming from the other direction.
I'm going to go with safety.
Chuck? I will say this, just so the board is aware, that to override the county comment, you do need majority plus one vote. So all four of you will need to be unanimous on a decision to override the county. Otherwise, your override will fail and the county comment will prevail. Just saying that. Chuck, thoughts?
Are you concerned about people not looking right for bikes? Do you think that's a valid comment?
I think,
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but.
Oh, no, no,
I mean, ultimately, you put the cards on the table, you're going to make this decision. So the question is, we have a viewpoint, I'm not set one way or the other, but I do agree that drivers are lazy. Myself sometimes can get lazy. I mean, we all fall into the pattern, we don't pay attention. I don't know if I pulled out that I would really be looking for a bike heading the other way.
May I ask,
That the bike lane would be, I'm so used to bikes that travel with cars, so you'd have one bike on this side, one bike on the other side. I don't know. A lot of drivers haven't been educated yet on bike lanes and how they operate. And
Already, I mean, you've had one bike come down that hill and get hit by a bus there already. Like, I live right there, so it's like one of those things that it's like, we've already had one bike come down that hill and get hit by a bus as they came out, and it's just like,
May I make a
Yeah.
comment? Farther east on Greenkill, there are other streets that cross over the bike trail.
Yep.
They have small stop signs.
yeah,
I would imagine that would achieve what you're looking, because somebody would see
stop
us
signs in the bike lane. you're
in the
talking about?
driveway.
Oh, in the driveway, okay.
Lazy drivers would see a stop sign, they're conditioned to stop immediately and look both ways, as opposed to a no left. I would imagine stop sign, where we already have there's two warning pedestrian signs already, one in the lower driveway and one in the upper driveway. We didn't provide pictures, unfortunately. So there is warning to pedestrian traffic there. Maybe a stop sign adhered to that post right under that would help. And then people would stop at least and then look either direction. Because once you cross over the bike lane, as Robert had said, you're in what is now a parking spot, which should not be. And then you're looking left and right and you're completely out of the bike lane.
Okay, yeah.
So would that be
Put in stop signs like
a viable compromise to add, in addition to the warning sign, a stop sign exiting the site? Would that make you comfortable?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Any,
Be a bicycle stop sign, the small one that goes on for them.
yeah, well, it would be, it would be for the vehicles exiting the
Yes.
site.
Have to stop before the the bike lane, look
Correct.
both ways, enter the bike lane in order to get out into the street.
And the parking lane, yeah.
Fair compromise?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so we would need a motion from someone to that effect. Would you like to make the motion, Andrew?
Sure. So, motion to override the county comment and require a stop sign exiting the parking lot.
Small stop sign for bicycles.
One to match the ones that we see farther up on Greenkill, the smaller ones.
The only ones I'm familiar with are small ones that are for the bicycle
They
lane.
have those same ones
They
for
have those
driveways.
facing the driveways.
That's why you
Okay,
don't
I
see
haven't
them.
seen those. Yeah, yeah.
'Cause they're
Okay.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, I'm never coming out of those driveways.
all right, so that's a motion. We need a second. Second by Chuck. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor? Okay,
Rob? Sage?
Aye.
Chuck, yes.
okay. So the next comment from the county was with respect to the lighting, requiring full cutoff, dark sky compliant LED fixtures, and that a photometric plan should be submitted. The applicant, do you want to just kind of review what your lighting is? I know you were using existing lighting,
Existing
as
lighting.
well as some new fixtures alongside the perimeter of the building.
New fixtures, but existing points of mount where there's already electricity. The lights are not there anymore. So we're not installing light posts, which is why it might seem conical from the building. So that would be why the lighting plan looks the way it does. I believe it seems the county assumes there would be light posts put in there, which is why that they're a little confused as to the shape of the lighting plan there, I
Right.
believe.
Those fixtures can be adjusted
Correct, yes.
after they're installed so that if there is a directional issue or
Yes.
they can be modified.
But is he putting down lighting in? What lighting, I mean, the county's requesting down lighting. It sounds like you haven't purchased lighting yet.
No, we haven't purchased lighting yet, but we're not.
Kyle is going to pull up their lighting fixture. It's, yeah, it was in the, yeah.
I don't see anything.
I don't know that it was in last month, maybe.
This right here.
Yeah.
This fixture?
Oh, yep.
That's not considered down lighting?
I think it is. Yeah, the only thing that they don't have is they did not have a photometric plan. Yeah, you'd have to take, you can probably you'd take the spec of the light fixture, probably has a photometric layout on it, and you'd have to overlay it on your site plan. I am. I think in addition to the proposed fixtures, just the note that they are on timers, and that we would also impose board policy 4 and 4A, which allows us to go back and work with the applicant to adjust the lighting after it's installed so that it doesn't cause a nuisance to adjoining property owners, oncoming traffic, whatever the case might be.
You're gonna,
So I need a motion from somebody.
Staff, along with the board policy number
4 and 4A.
further changes on lighting can be done on staff level with the applicant.
Okay, so that's a motion. Is there a second?
second.
Second by Chuck. Any further question on the motion? Okay, all in favor?
Chuck's a yes. Andrew's a yes.
Okay. Okay, the next item, landscaping. The county's comment was that there should be a more developed landscaping plan with locations and planting schedules.
Plan that I'm aware of is around the patio with the planters.
The,
Parking lot and the rest of
now,
the site is.
there is. The landscaping, yeah, you're correct with the planters. The planters would be along the Greenkill Avenue side. We talked about them last month. We also talked and made the point that they needed to be brought back onto their property and out of the public right-of-way. And then there's additional planting.
That's right, where they're getting rid of the driveway on Wilbur.
Right, well, yeah, that's, yeah,
That's pavement. Is that
Just-
We're gonna remove the pavement.
right. Yeah, I did put a comment in there that that might be an opportunity to put a few plantings along the building edge or something there to just kind of make it look more attractive. But up above where they're putting the parking lot, along the Wilbur Avenue side is a stockade fence. And then they do have a row of low juniper plantings that are being proposed along that wall. So,
Are there utility lines on your side of the street or are they opposite? Is there any room for street trees or anything?
On Wilbur Avenue, there's a utility pole right next to the fire hydrant, next to the old retaining wall
Yes.
for the abutment.
Leave this landscaping up to staff, right? Are you
Fine.
comfortable with that?
yeah, well, the question is, does the board feel that the landscaping is satisfactory or do you
Also-
feel?
I don't mean to interrupt, but we also talked about an apron at the last meeting, an apron between the gravel and the bike lane.
Correct.
Gravel doesn't migrate into.
Yes, I've had conversations with Kieran about that. We talked about distances and it has to be a car length in, so that will be something we've already discussed and on the, yeah.
Okay, good. So that's part of it.
And that's actually in the next bullet. Let's go back to landscaping. We need to,
I consider that landscaping, but, okay. I'm comfortable with the landscaping that's proposed, just.
any other comment?
I'm comfortable with it too.
You're good? You're good? Okay. So I need a motion then to,
Make a motion to override the,
okay, so that's a motion by Chuck to override and accept the existing.
do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Okay. Chuck Palaffo's a yes. Andrews a yes. Rob's a yes. Sage is a yes.
Okay. The next item is the parking and grading. So the comment there is that they need more details with regards to the parking surface. Any grading details with or without the creation of the new Wilbur access should be provided with the understanding of how stormwater management occurs, given the grade changes should be provided to the city and the county. So the materials that are going to be used, the applicant has identified that only impermeable paved surfaces will remain in the area, with the exception of the ADA, handicap parking, and the access aisle and pathway and ramping for that particular element. Everything else, there'll be permeable pavers used in the area where the outdoor dining is to take place, And as we've said earlier, where the public or the driveway access is right now on Wilbur, near the intersection, that's pavement's going to be removed and replaced with a grass, which will be an added pervious surface material. And in addition to that, they have agreed to pave back an area minimum of 20 feet from the property line so that the gravel stays off the public right-of-way. That is the responses of the applicant and staff.
Satisfied with that.
Motion from somebody?
Second. Discussion.
So you're motioning to override with the additional 20 feet, right? Right. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And is the surface matching, paver stones matching the patio acceptable?
Okay, so there's a motion, a second? Second by Chuck. Any further discussion on the motion? Okay, all in favor?
Chuck said yes.
Okay. Next, signage. Pretty standard comment that it has to conform with the site standards or signage standards of the City of Kingston. Staff also noted that the Heritage Area Commission has reviewed it and also signed off on it. I think that's a straight you would concur, and they do. Okay, so I need a motion to concur. Okay. Second by Andrew. Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Chuck said yes.
Okay. Then the next, sustainability. So the comment is the New York State Stretch Energy Code and reduction of the carbon footprint using alternatives to fossil fuels. The applicant submitted a statement with respect to the sustainability elements of the project site. They noted that they are removing the existing heating system, which is a oil-based heating system, replacing that with a heat pump electric system, as well as adding additional insulation throughout the building. We have discussed, we do need to discuss about adding an EV charging station under the stretch code. So that would be, that is a requirement, and staff missed that the first time, but
Yeah.
any parking area that requires 15 or more parking spaces, 10 or more, requires at least one EV station, 2 EV stations, or be set up for one. So you're going to have to provide that. Parking, I have to go back to that. I think it's more than 10. Yeah.
Existing spaces, so with the new project under the stretch code, if you're more than 10 spaces required, then you have to have.
If you, right, if the project requires more than 10 parking spaces, then you have to provide you have to incorporate a minimum of 2 EV stations. It's just 10. I mean, when we do a parking
Employees.
calculation,
That's what it is moving forward.
right. Yeah, right. So that is a requirement. And in all likelihood, it's probably a good thing. You'll probably get patrons, I would suspect, that are using EV cars.
Hands.
What? Yeah, that's the New York State Energy Stretch Code requirement. Yeah. Okay, so Rob made the motion to concur. Chuck seconded. Anybody else?
No discussion.
The only discussion is based on the parking plan. Is this parking lot near the actual building? Because this is all rock down there. So in order to install a EV station, is it feasible based on the topography and the parking? Or is that something they'd have to seek a variance to get rid, to bypass?
I don't know. Do you know with the stretch code, is there a way to get a variance from the stretch code requirements?
Currently, that's building code that's currently adopted by, energy code that's currently adopted by the city. That's not something.
So on this plan, is there a parking space that's along the building somewheres where they can incorporate an EV station on that side wall, or where's our parking plan?
Well, that's where they have their handicap parking space. They might have to, yeah, you might have to be looking at that.
Understood.
Yeah, I don't know of a way to have a waiver or a variance from that state code. The city adopted it as its code. So you can.
Site plan, is that something that we can, as a board, leave to staff to jot through the
Yes.
EV so they can come figure out?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. Anything else? There's other comments that are in the staff notes. If the board wants to ask any other questions or go back over any of the other site issues, questions, concerns, speak now.
No, as long as staff has the ability, based on our votes, to modify the plan according to the EV. They don't have to come back.
Okay, so we've addressed all of the county comments separately. Those will be made, and we've done the motions and the seconds there. So the outstanding items that I have are the board policies, which I'll read. 4, 4A, 5, 6, 7, 7A, 10, 11, 13, 14, 19, 24, 25, and 26. And then the condition would be to allow staff to have the ability to work with the applicant to modify the plan to allow them to meet New York State Energy Stretch Code. Anything else?
My only last question is, on Wilbur Avenue, where we're taking the gate now, you guys are putting glass floor, putting doors outside.
Brick along the bottom, matching the Sears brick that's there with window in place. Same opening though, but it'll be brick with,
There's no, your patrons aren't going to filter out into that space, so when a car makes a right turn, all of a sudden there's somebody hanging on a curb.
no, just fire escape exits through there.
And if you up doing any type of open garage door, they won't be able to just,
No, no.
it's just safety.
Okay. So no pedestrian access from the Wilbur?
Just in that space,
No
yeah. I mean,
customer.
sometimes people open doors, I just don't want people to wander out and.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I get it.
Because when people make the right turn, they can't see anybody until they get past the building.
Okay. So those were the conditions that I have, unless anybody has anything else.
Just a vote.
I need a motion.
Well, they did, but
Huh?
I thought Rob did.
Did you make that motion? Okay. So then I need a second on the motion?
I second.
Okay. So there's a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. Call for the vote.
Chuck, yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's been a long time since we had a good, healthy discussion like that.
No, they're the next, we can skip Hurley and go to Prince if you want. Hurley is really, the next item on the agenda is the Kingston Meadows Senior Housing. As part of the adoption resolution, this board needs to set the amount of the performance bond. So what we did was we had them submit cost estimates for the work. It's all been reviewed and approved by the city engineer. I put in the staff notes, the tables. They've separated out the cost for the interim grading, as well as the restoration work, and then the full construction work. So the total amount that we've reviewed and approved, with the standard 10% contingency amount, is shown in your notes. Rounding it off, we came out to $4,025,167. So I need a motion on that and a second. Okay,
On the city engineer's recommendation. Good Lord. All he left with is dirt.
that would be in a bond approved in form by staff and corporation council as well.
There we go. Motion by
So Rob, I need a motion. I need a second. Oh, okay, sorry. Thank you. Okay, the motion and second, any discussion? Okay,
all in favor? Aye.
okay. Take care of that one. Next.
Okay, item 9 Prince Street, site plan to construct 8 additional units on a multifamily property, SBL 56.26-6-11. Secret determination, Zone 02, Ward 5, CPG Kingston 1 LLC, applicant owner. Your names for the record.
You need to turn the mic on. I'm sorry.
Hello? Okay. I'm Courtney Green. I'm the owner.
Dave Roback, Roback Architecture.
if you can pull up the, maybe the one with the blue sky or the lamp
Overall site plan,
or the site plan, whatever. We have renderings, site plan, whatever,
overall site plan with landscaping.
whatever you'd like to see.
The house up on the hill.
Yes,
Yes.
that's exactly what I call it.
Okay.
Okay, so right now Kyla's got up on the screen the site plan itself. They are showing, again, that the access to the parking area would stay along Prince Street. The building is situated in the grass area. There you go. That's it. Okay. The grass area of the intersection of Prince and Foxhall Avenue. Is this one of the new ones that came in? Okay, can I say, I didn't see this
It's just
elevation.
better. It's more detailed, I guess. More grass. It's just, you know, they pulled it from actual Google Maps and then created the renderings. It's just, you know, it was more schematic before, and this was done by like professional renderers, so. And reflects some of the changes requested to the front to make it more fronty, for a better word. And
I think so. Yeah, okay. So this, we had asked at the last time they were here just really as a general presentation. And so one of the things that the board had asked them to do, and I'm just seeing these for the first time, I guess these came in today, this one and this one up on the
There's four of them.
screen, and the other one.
some contextualization with the
Was
local.
right, so the board members had asked to see massing, but incorporating the surrounding existing building stocks to get an idea of how this would be set in, you know, context with the neighborhood. So these have been newly provided documents which insert here, and actually, this is very helpful because this clears up a lot of questions I had
Okay.
along the frontage. We wanted something to have more of a streetscape frontage, more of a presence, so that it created, if you're walking down the street, you didn't want to feel like you were looking at the back end of a building. You wanted to feel that you were, you know, seeing something that was more inviting. You wanted to have something, you know, the reverse too. You wanted people that were in the units be invited to exit out onto the street and have that ability.
It's a
that-
hard balance because with the parking in the back, people who are carrying packages, groceries, you know, we didn't want them to have the only option to be to go all the way around to the front to go in. So
Right.
we tried to strike a balance here by having entrances to those apartments from the front, but also from the back for the
Right.
parking.
So that,
The first plan was submitted. Is this, the house that's on there now, is that getting
That's
taken? where
that's
the
still
parking
there.
will be?
That's 3 apartments now.
Oh, okay.
And the garage in the back is also 3 apartments now. And this is sort of completing the full property vision. The overhead view that Kyla had up before, that shows it from above, that, if you go back to that one, that shows it's the rendering that's done from like above. Yeah, you can see the house still
Oh, yeah,
standing
yeah.
right
Okay.
there. And this is actually not as tall. It's up on a hill, so it's actually still standing there. And then the garage in the back there is also still standing, so.
So 4 units first floor, 4 units second floor?
So the 4 top ones are duplexes, and then the ground is 1 bedroom, 4 one-bedrooms, and then 4 3 bedrooms on top. Sort of like a traditional brownstone build where you have like a garden apartment and then.
And then what is, do you have any renderings for the back where the parking and
That is it. We don't have a close-up one.
pull your car in, where there's steps up to the doors to get in?
So, yeah, so the main entrances, you can see there's steps to the upper units, and below is the entrance to the lower units. So those are the main entrances, plus there are entrances out to Foxhall from the units facing there, so they have a dual option, basically.
From the parking lot, there's no steps. That's handicap accessible. It's about
All the lower level apartments are
yeah,
handicapped,
all the first floor is accessible.
and the bathrooms and everything are designed to
So
be
there's no
accessible.
steps in the back.
One thing I noticed, and I don't know if it's acceptable to the building department, I noticed that the roof, the units, the HVAC units are all located on the roof, which is fine. But the only access to the roof is through a hatch access, which is in one of the units in a bedroom. I'm not sure if that's acceptable under the building code.
I think it's probably acceptable. It's how practical is it? There's no central corridor. So
Right, I mean, I know that, right, there's no common area on that
Yeah, there's no
third
common
floor.
area.
I don't know,
Maybe
you
we'll
want
do
to
a
check
stair, a
that,
ladder on
check
the
that with the
outside.
building department, that you don't have to put in,
I was going to put 2 hatches in case they couldn't get access to the one
Right.
apartment. But yeah, that apartment better
I'm
be
just not
friendly to
sure
be
if
able to
you
get in
can,
there.
if that's legal to access it through a private
I have that on
space to
another
the
building I
roof,
built with the
the
same
access for the whole,
situation.
I'm
Okay.
just, I asked the
Yeah.
question, so.
Yeah.
You were trying to
Um,
contact the building inspector, right, to set up a
Yeah, I'm definitely going to meet with them and go over
chat,
everything.
so.
You've met, who have you met with?
No, not yet. I'm trying to, I will meet with them
Okay.
and review all these items.
Okay, all right, yeah. I also asked, I had sent them a note, and I haven't gotten a response yet about if there's a need to have elevator access. I don't think so, but just confirm that with them as
Okay.
well to the second floor.
Okay.
Okay, those were a couple of questions I had.
Okay.
And the other thing that you also just want to go in, we've made you aware of it, is the stretch code. The New York State Energy Stretch Code is now something the city has adopted. So just confirm that how you're proposing your construction methods and that are going to meet that code. So you might have to switch things around a little bit, add something. But there is also, as we were just talking with the last applicant, the electric vehicle requirement. So your charging stations will be required with these additional units and what you've got already on site. You're going to have to provide for EV
We're
charging.
proposing 12 parking spaces.
You have
So
got 4?
2 would need to be EV.
Okay,
Yeah, we're adding 12.
okay, okay. So just wanted to make a note of that.
So we need 2 EV spaces.
Or one, or,
I think the last application you said 10 or more needed 2
It's-
spaces,
it's
unless that was a
total, it's
different.
5%, but with the first 10, you're required to have 2. So like yeah, I think you're probably only going to be required to have 2 in this instance, but double check that with them,
Okay.
that you don't need more. All right. We will need site details for the site elements. There is what seems to be a fairly substantial retaining wall structure that you're going to be building
Yes.
along the side of the building that you'll be excavating out. And so the engineering, I want the elevations, topographic, proposed
Sure.
topos. I know we have existings, but we need proposed, and we'll need the details like the retaining structures to be submitted for the engineering review, along with like ADA ramp cross sections, railings, windows, doorways, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Typically, what we get applicants to submit, we call it a design matrix. And it just is a matrix that shows your window units and the type of windows that you're proposing, doors, type of doors, that kind of thing, railings. It specs them out in a matrix form. It makes it very simple and clean and easy to identify. I do like the fact that you, in the architecture on the corners, you're adding those little elements to kind of pull out the corner, like in the parapet and the window units, that you're adding those little extra features. I think that's a nice touch. I like that. I just wanted to add that. And I did ask the parapet goes around the entire building, right?
Yes,
It was
does
unclear to
vary.
me on
It
the
does vary
drawings
in
that I saw,
height.
but it looks on here like
It's say 6 inches to 1.5 feet.
Yeah.
It varies in height.
Okay,
To
all
just
right,
to break it up,
okay.
but it's a low parapet. It doesn't need to be high.
We did ask a question, any borings? Have you done any borings on the site? Do you,
We had a small machine on the property, and we dug around. We dug about 8 pits
okay,
to see how deep we could go. We were very concerned about rock.
so you're not anticipating any bedrock that's going to,
There's no ledge 6 inches below the surface, but
yeah,
it was a small machine. We went down 2-3 feet in places,
Okay.
5 to 6 feet more towards Prince Street. It was almost sandy there, and pretty good soil. But we dug around. We didn't dig in the driveway. We didn't want to destroy the driveway. But we've done some basic exploration.
how deep of footing do you think you're going to have to go down?
We're just going to have a small basement, so it's mostly going to be slab on grade, but the footing will be about 4 feet.
Okay,
But that shouldn't be a problem. Oh, I don't think there'll be any blasting, no. There may be some rock hammering, though. We just don't know. I don't think for the building. I mean, the retaining wall, there may be some hammering.
okay,
They seem to be cobbles, stones the size of bowling balls. They were able to be removed
yeah.
in places, and other places we just got stopped again with a small machine. We didn't,
Double check with the building department if they're going to have any specific requirements in terms of if you would be hammering or drilling
Yeah.
for just pre-survey work.
vibration.
If the rock vein, depending on how a rock vein runs underground, you can affect houses on the other side of the street if you start hammering some bedrock. So I don't know what requirements they have, but they will probably have you do some pre-survey work, at least exterior-wise, to
Okay.
look at some of the surrounding foundations.
Okay.
Okay. We will have to refer this to the Rec Commission as well for a payment in lieu of parkland fee recommendation from them. So that's something we'll do at staff level. I don't think they've seen this one yet, no? Okay, so that's going to be on our list. And it does have to go to the county planning board. So we'll do that referral as well. I don't know, why was, is that the? Oh, the size.
I think it totals
Yeah,
about,
over
Oh, the new-
4,000 square feet.
Yes, over 8,000. Okay.
So do they hold monthly meetings too, or how? And we submit like the same sort of materials? Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Okay.
And we'll send you a copy of our staff notes so that you have them as well. Okay. Staff doesn't have anything further. I don't know if the board members want to talk about anything related to the building materials, the architectural design, any of the documentation that's been submitted so far. If you have,
Brick and synthetic wood siding?
The brown is the synthetic wood siding, and the
Yes.
gray is the brick?
Yes. They're looking at like a light gray brick.
Light gray with a dark wood,
Wood siding is a vertical siding.
but the wood would, if it's real, will get ruined pretty quickly, so.
And then obviously the wall is concrete. What is the brown going across? Is that a fence?
That's a fence, and that's just like a wood fence. Yeah.
Privacy.
Yeah, 4-foot high fence.
Bottom units have a little yard, they can let the dog out, or, you know. It'll match, yeah, and, you know, bike storage, whatever. So it's sort of all designed to be.
And what are the
similar
railings,
shading.
all metal?
Yes.
Any outside lighting around the building?
There's a night view, Kyla, of the rendering, just to show a sort of,
Sconces by the entrances and downlights in the rear to light the walkways. We have a lighting plan, and I did select everything is you know, dark sky.
There you go.
so kind of the look of a night version. Don't want it to be like crazy bright, like a, you know, Christmas tree, but.
I live a block away from this.
Oh, on Prince or on Fox?
I'm up Highland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, coming down the hill right there, yeah.
If not, this is the time.
No, no, looks good to me.
Okay, we have any other questions from you folks or from the board?
Yes, correct. Yeah, we're proposing 12 spaces. I think 16 are required.
Just, we would eat up all the green space if we tried to add
Because
16.
we're near a municipal lot.
Okay.
About 1.5 cars per unit, which seems to be what
Basically one for the one bedrooms and two for the ones
the
above.
cities are
so
doing now.
it's-
all right, well, we would do that as part of our final, but as long as the board is comfortable, then they know now that you're comfortable with that. Okay. All right, good.
Okay. We're gonna make a motion to table this, give us time to refer to Park and Rec, the Ulster County Planning Board.
Send the staff notes to the applicant, and then we'll also, they'll meet with the building department with the
Okay.
regards to the other questions that we've raised, and we'll, you know,
Cold through the roof and all that stuff.
so that's a motion. Is there a second? Okay, second by Robert. Any other further discussion? Okay, call for the vote.
All in favor? Opposed?
Okay.
Okay, so we come back next month with, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so just a couple other things. 6585 East Strand reached out to us today and said that they were not going to make the meeting tonight. So there is no action. It was only a discussion, for discussion purposes only. And we will probably refrain from putting them on the agendas in the future until they have a more firm plan. I believe that they are really holding off for the new zoning code to be adopted. So, we'll leave it up to them, but, And the last item is just the form-based code item. Again, we have a meeting next Tuesday, the 28th. We'll be in conference room 2 again. That'll be our third workshop session. We sent around the components of the document that we're going to be reviewing, Articles 5, 6, and 7, I believe. If you want hard copies of them, let us know. We'll make them for you, but otherwise you can find it on engagekingston.com. We will, after that, probably be looking to schedule the 4th meeting, which would be a wrap-up, and we will circle back around to all of the items that have been discussed, trying to come up with a bullet point listing of comments on some issues. There might be 3 or 4 options to consider. We'll give you some time, and then we'll be looking at each of those at the next regular meeting, unless we decide to schedule a special meeting, which I don't want to ask you guys to do at this time. So, other than that, I don't have anything. There's no need to vote on either of the last 2 items.
Yeah, make a motion. Adjourn. Second by Rob, all in favor?
Okay, so adjourn at 8:09.